What widely accepted fact do you know is wrong? If you touch a baby bird, the parents will abandon kill it. Most birds don't do that. If you help a baby bird back into its nest, as long as you try not to touch the nest a lot, then everything should be fine. If it's an adult bird you rescued, then not touching it for a day does help with it getting your scent off, but not 100% needed. I know this because my mom and I rescue wild animals when they are hurt or still babies and release them when we are able to. That Einstein failed math, was otherwise a poor student. Your head does not lose proportionately more heat than the rest of your body. It's about the same. Astronomer here. People always say Jupiter protects us from getting hit by asteroids because its larger gravitational pull attracts them. I believe it was on a certain popular astronomy show. In fact, this does not appear to be the case. See? While Jupiter does indeed interact with more things, it is both good and bad. Some things hit Jupiter or get flung away. Some things get flung directly at Earth that otherwise wouldn't. Most famously, in 1770 Lexell's comet passed closer to Earth than any other comet ever observed, missing us by just 6 Earth-Moon widths. Turns out Jupiter flung it straight at us right before that. So yeah, we almost died thanks to Jupiter. And good and bad comes from having it as a neighbor. That chloroform quickly knocks you out. Edit. It takes minutes to knock you out, not the seconds you see in TV and movies. https n. Wikipedia. Org. Wiki. Chloroform. WPROV equals SFLA1. Schizophrenia has nothing to do with a split personality. Left and right brained. People who are either more artistic or more numbers based. Just as inaccurate as the parts of your tongue that taste different things. Yet people still say it. We only use 10% of our brain. It's not. Luke, I am your father. But. No. I am your father. Napoleon wasn't small. He was just the victim of good propaganda by the eventual winners. NASA spent $$ inventing a pen that worked in space, and the Russians used pencils. Total bollocks. The Fisher Pen Company was independent and developed its space pen. With zero investment from NASA. American astronauts began using mechanical pencils in space. Tiny fragments of graphite. And graphite dust floating around the spacecraft was not ideal because graphite is conductive. It's also combustible. So everyone was keen to find an alternative. Fisher patented its first zero-gravity pen in 1965. And in 1967 NASA began using it. By 1969 Russia were also buying them for their space missions. Reportedly both NASA and the Soviet Space Company received the same discount for their bulk purchases. Goldfishes really do not have a memory span of 5 seconds. They actually remember things for months. Recognize their owners. And are able to distinguish them from other people. That you swallow 8 spiders a year in your sleep. That you have to wait 24 hours to report someone missing in the USA. There is no law about waiting. You don't have to push to make the police cooperate and list the person missing immediately when you suspect something isn't right. Don't lose precious time. It's extremely important if the person truly is missing. If you tell the truth. I won't get mad. That cracking your knuckles too often will cause arthritis. That medieval ancient people only lived to be approximately 32 years old. And at that age, they were considered ancient. That estimate is an average. Which means it accounts for high infant-child mortality. Lots of ancient people lived to their 80s and older. If you made it to 30, chances are good you're making it another 30+ years. We are experiencing a temporary high volume of phone calls. Your call is important to us. People definitely expected the Spanish Inquisition. We are here for you during these unprecedented times. Cutting your hair makes it grow faster. That daddy long legs are the most venomous spider in the world, they just can't bite you. And you swallow X amount-eyed spiders a year in your sleep. Mr. Rogers was a sniper in Vietnam. A duck's quack doesn't echo. The Great Wall of China can be seen from space. Sugarcane grows faster on sand. You have to put something in the mouth of a seizing person so they don't swallow their own tongue. Do not do this, ever. Edit to add. Since this post gained a little traction, I wanted to reiterate what other Redditors are pointing out in the comments. While every person is different, the general rule of thumb is to roll the seizing person onto their side. The rescue position. and clear the area of things they could knock over or hurt themselves on while you wait for the seizure to pass. While it might look violent, don't try to stabilize their head or neck because it could do even more damage to their muscles. Also, and this is a terrible fact, don't call an ambulance right away because not everyone can afford the ambulance bill. And most people who have regular seizures will be able to tell you what they need from you after they regain consciousness. Another edit. Yes, the ambulance thing is unfortunately an American problem. The people I've spoken with who have regular seizures are the ones who've told me they would be a little annoyed with having to deal with the aftermath of an ambulance call because of something they're used to. But my first instinct on seeing a seizure would be to dial 911 and it's weird to even say don't do that. I get it guys, I promise. One more edit. https www.cdc.gov epilepsy about first aid. I wanted to drop this link in case anyone wanted to learn more about seizures and what they can do in the moment. I'm in the So It's Us based site, but I am sure the info is out there everywhere. You've all been so kind with the awards and stuff. I am just really happy that this myth is getting busted. That the McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit was absurd and unjustified. That coffee wasn't just hot. It was hot, spilling it in her lap. Which should have just ruined Stella Liebeck's pants and maybe given her first-degree burns, caused third-degree burns and fused her genitals shut. She needed not only skin grafts but horrifyingly painful, expensive reconstructive surgery. When Liebeck initially contacted McDonald's, all she asked was that they cover her $20,000 hospital bills. They counter-offered for $800, so she took them to court. Even then, she didn't ask for punitive damages. The jury heard about McD's insulting counter-offer, and the fact that their coffee had seriously burned 700 people already. They damn well knew about the danger. They just didn't care, and were so incensed that they added the extra millions on their own. The only reason people think of that case as an example of sue-happy American culture gone wrong is that McDonald's poured millions into a smear campaign after the fact. If you ask me, it was actually our justice system working exactly as it should. More sources. Wikipedia. Find Law. American Museum of Tort Law. Hot Coffee. Documentary. Available on Prime. Edit. For those of you who still think that Liebeck's injuries were entirely her own fault. Regardless of the coffee temperature. Imagine yourself handling a cup of your favorite hot drink. You take reasonable precautions to keep from spilling it on yourself, things like resting your mug on a solid flat surface, trying to keep from elbowing it, etc. These aren't foolproof. You either have spilled hot liquid on yourself or you almost certainly will someday. You're okay with taking only these limited precautions because the consequences of that spill are a minor household ouchie and damage to your clothes. Now imagine yourself handling a cup of, say, lava. If you spill that on yourself, it'll burn straight through your body and quite possibly kill you. Are you willing to handle it with the same precautions as you do for a cup of tea? Of course not. But on the other hand, are you willing to go through life treating every cup of tea as though it were potentially lava? Of course not. Nobody handles coffee with asbestos gloves and hazmat protocol, that'd be absurd. Liebeck was handed a cup of lava disguised as coffee. Do you see how the ones performing that particular switcheroo might, just might, be partly responsible for the consequences? If you have a cold, you should get lots of vitamin C. This is completely down to one scientist called Linus Pauling who had a theory that massive doses of vitamin C would cure colds. Subsequent studies have shown he was wrong and any benefits are minimal at best. Yet I still get everyone telling me to drink orange juice whenever I get a sniffle. People didn't think the Earth was flat 500 years ago. It was theorized to be round in the 5th century BC. The Americas were just not known yet, except to indigenous Americans, and it was believed that there was a vast ocean between Europe and Asia. People believed Columbus' voyage would fail because he would exhaust his food and supplies before crossing it. Edit. Holy F***C King S% at this is the most liked comment I've ever made. Thanks for the medals, kind stranger. Tourette syndrome isn't always exclusively swearing uncontrollably. It represents a wide range of tics. Both verbal, non-verbal and physical. Every case is different. That different places on your tongue taste different things such as sour. That the human only has 5 senses. There's only 4 states of matter. The lawsuit over McDonald's coffee burn wasn't some ridiculous old lady looking to cheat the system and get money. She was legit severely burned and basically got very little money out of it. One of my favorite American college town urban legends is that we aren't allowed to have Greek houses on campus because insert city here has a law on the books that say that any group of insert number here of women living in a house together is a brothel. It's just literally not a thing. https www Snopes.com fact check brothel laws sororities. Edit. Spelling.